What's going on, everybody, and welcome back once again to the channel. Before we get into today's video, make sure to subscribe and sack that like button. And I wanted to give a shout out to the YouTube channel, The Greatest Content. He shared one of my older videos on his community tab on YouTube, so I wanted to give a shout out to him for doing so. Go check him out on YouTube. He makes sports shorts all the time. So in this video, I'm going to be doing my post week 5 NFL power rankings, and without further ado, let's begin. So coming in at number 32, the worst team, I have the Panthers, who they just fired Matt Rule, obviously, and Baker Mayfield's going to be out for a couple of weeks with a sprained ankle. Sam Darnold still isn't ready to go. Matt Corral's out for the year. So a team that was once loaded, quote unquote, at quarterback with 2 former first-round picks and rookie quarterback Matt Corral, all 3 of them are hurt, and now they're going to have to start XFL star PJ Walker, who does have some experience starting in the NFL. He did for the Panthers over the last couple of years. But Matt Rule being fired, they got a new coach. They got, maybe one of the least good starting quarterbacks right now. Their offensive line is not good. The receiving core is not stepping up. The front 7 is terrible defensively. The secondary is not living up to potential. It's just a complete dumpster fire for the Panthers right now, and I think they're going to press the complete reset button starting next year. Another team that's going to hit the reset button next year, the Washington Commanders, who are now sitting at 1-4. I have them coming in at number 31. Yeah, Carson Wentz just finds ways to lose games. They had an opportunity there towards the end, but could not pull it out. Coming in at number 30, I have the Texans, who got their first win of the season. Now there is no team without a win. Coming in at number 29, I have the Lions, who entered the week statistically as the best offense in the NFL, and they just got shut out by the Patriots. Coming in at number 28, I have the Steelers, who just got blown out by the Bills. Look, I don't think it's this bad for the Steelers. Yeah, they're 1-4. I don't think this season the future is too bright. Although they do have some winnable games up ahead, so maybe they can keep themselves relevant. But 1-4 is going to be hard to come back from. I don't think the Kenny Pickett start should worry people. It's his first game starting. He's playing the Bills. It was just not an easy way to start off your first NFL game. Coming in at number 27, I have the Bears, who gave a pretty good fight to the Vikings, better than I thought they would, and were able to put some points on the board in the second half and even take the lead at one point, but eventually could not pull it out. Coming in at number 26, I have the Browns, who all 5 of their games this year have been decided by a field goal or less, except for one, and now they're sitting at 2-3. Another heartbreaking loss for them. Cade York missed a field goal to win the game with seconds remaining. Coming in at number 25, I have the Raiders, who lost to my Kansas City Chiefs last night on Monday Night Football. More on that game in a bit, but I think the Raiders, you can argue, yes, they're way better than their record says, but at the end of the day, they're sitting at 1-4. I don't think there's much coming back from being 1-4, and yeah, they do have a favorable schedule up ahead, but 1-4 is 1-4. Then coming in at number 24, I have the Broncos, who lost to the Colts in a game where it felt like they had full control of it throughout the whole game, and a very strong defensive effort by both sides. And, in the end, it did not work out. And it's crazy that the Broncos fans in the stadium were booing while the Broncos were winning. And then they wound up losing. But it's just funny how, the Broncos were 2-2, undefeated at home, and they were winning that game and fans were booing. But I think that's how restless they grew. Coming in at number 23, I have the Seahawks, who lost in a shootout with the Saints. It feels like a lot of their games this year are shootouts. At least the last couple have been, maybe. But yeah, Geno Smith played really well. I can't keep saying that he sucks. He does not suck. He's actually, very good. Is good considering the circumstances. But, it wasn't enough to win because that defense is very bad. Coming in at number 22, I have the Falcons, who got kind of robbed, if we're being honest, with that call on roughing the passer on Brady. I mean, I don't know what Grady Jarrett was supposed to do there, but regardless, chances were they weren't going to go down and score with 2 minutes left backed up, but their offense had been humming in that fourth quarter, and all they needed was a touchdown to win the game. Coming in at number 21, I have the Colts, who got another win against the Broncos, like I mentioned earlier. Very interesting team. I mean, I thought they were a dark horse coming into the year. I'm not sure if that's the case anymore, but they're definitely hanging around and are only half a game back in their division. Coming in at number 20, I have the Jaguars, who just plummeted in my rankings. You know, this was a team that it was very optimistic. They were 2-2, and you know, both losses were very close games, and the second one was against, you know, the only unbeaten team in football. And you know, they this week they lost to the Texans 13-6. I don't know what happened offensively for the Jaguars. I think the Jaguars are trying to pass the ball too much. I mean, especially against the Texans. The Texans are a team that really struggles to stop the run, and the Jaguars have good running backs. You have Travis Etienne, you have James Robinson. Run the football with those guys on first and second downs, and make your young quarterback's life easier. You're going to be attacking the Texans' weakness, and you know, utilizing your strength. It just really didn't make much sense. Coming in at number 19, I have the Saints, who got the win over the Seahawks, as I mentioned. Taysom Hill had a heck of a game. Coming in at number 18, I have the Cardinals, who are sitting at 2-3, but you got to remember who their 3 losses are to. The Chiefs, arguably the Chiefs are arguably the best team in football. The Eagles, arguably the best team in football. The Rams, the defending Super Bowl champions. So if you step back a second and think about that, I mean, wow. And in 2 of those 3 games, they were very close games. So, you know, there's some optimism there with the Cardinals, but they definitely need to start getting those wins. Coming in at number 17, I have the Patriots, who, look, they're at 2-3, and they do have a lot of winnable games coming up ahead that I think they can win starting next week with the Browns, but they need to play the way they played this week as every week. And I mean, obviously that's obvious, but what I mean is, you know, don't make mistakes on offense, turning the ball over. Defense plays tight, you know, makes first and second down, get losses on first and second down, then play back on third. That's the old-fashioned Patriot way. You know, wait for the mistake to happen, or just corral the ball, good tackling on defense, and mistake-free football on offense. If they do that, they'll be fine. Coming in at number 16, I have the Jets, who got a blowout win over the Dolphins, who all of a sudden are at 3-2. And, you know, for the Jets, what's, you know, really promising for them is we all talked about and hyped up their draft class coming into this year. And all of the guys, all 4 guys they took within the first 2 rounds are panning out so far. Garrett Wilson, he's doing good. Sauce Gardner, arguably one of the best corners in the whole NFL right now. Breece Hall just had a breakout game at running back. Jermaine Johnson, you know, he's been the least of the 4, but even he has done some good things. So the Jets draft class is looking really good, and that's really promising for them. And, you know, actually, if you think about it, they're only 1 game back from the Bills in the AFC East. And now they have tiebreaker over the Dolphins. Coming in at number 15, I have the Bengals, who lost to the Ravens. Their offense could not get anything going. Look, I said it before the season, this Bengals offense was going to struggle throughout the year. I think people completely disregarded the fact that offensive line was still not good, and it was going to hurt the running game, force Burrow to throw a lot. And Joe Burrow, sure, you can say he's accurate, you can say this and that, but the truth is, he's not the kind of guy when he's under pressure, he's going to be able to make a play, because, and what I mean by under pressure is not mental pressure, physical pressure, because he's not good on the run. He has trouble throwing on the run. He has trouble getting out the pocket. So, yeah, Bengals are in trouble. Coming in at number 14, I have the Rams, who, you know, I predicted them to get completely shut down offensively against that Cowboys defense, and that's exactly what happened. Other than a great play by Cooper Kupp, they only scored a field goal the whole game. The offensive line is terrible. No other receivers are stepping up besides Cooper Kupp. The running game is non-existent, and the defense holds the fort down, but not enough for them to be able to win games. Coming in at number 13, I have the Dolphins, who, you know, they're now 3-2. I still have them ahead of the Bengals and the Jets, the two teams they lost to. And the rationale is here too is that, yeah, obviously they just got blown out by the Jets and they have the same record, but the Dolphins had a 7th round pick quarterback playing throughout a lot of that game. Tyreek Hill got hurt early in the game. Byron Jones did not play at all in the game. The Dolphins are very banged up, and to be honest, I still don't think it's time to press the panic button yet if you're the Dolphins. I mean, yes, you're 3-2, and you just had an embarrassing loss, but if you get healthy and pull the things together and start winning the games that you should win, which I think they will be fine, but for now, they do plummet in my rankings. Coming in at number 12, I have the Titans, who are now 3-2, and defense is playing pretty darn good, all things considered. Derrick Henry got involved in the receiving game. The Titans look good as of right now, but we'll see how they match up against stronger teams. Coming in at number 11, I have the Buccaneers, who got the win over the Falcons, but their offense continued to struggle, and particularly in the second half. Their defense played well, but something just isn't clicking there, and at this point you can't really blame it on people who are injured, because Mike Evans played, Chris Godwin played. Sure, Julio Jones didn't play, but they didn't have Julio Jones in past years, and they were fine. But we'll see how that plans out. Coming in at number 10, the Packers, who had a massive upset loss to the New York Giants in London. They got shut out in the second half, and their defense just could not stop the Giants. Really throughout most of the game, you would think, yeah, sure, they held them to under 30 points, but the Giants had these long drives that just were, demoralizing and deflating for the Packers. That's how they ultimately won the game. And then coming in at number 9, I have the Giants, who, like I said, I think the Giants, they were undermanned at wide receiver. They relied a lot on Saquon Barkley. But like I've said, the main difference between this Giants team and the Giants team of the past couple of years is Daniel Jones is not churning the ball over. He's not doing anything special. He's not lighting it up, but he's not fumbling. He's not throwing picks. He's playing, game manager football. And, an underrated part of his game is his wheels. He can take off and run, and he's played a huge factor in the running game over the last couple of weeks. Coming in at number 8, I have the Chargers, who beat the Browns in an impressive road win over the Browns. In a game where they got off to a little bit of a slow start, wound up exploding offensively. The Browns had no answer for their offense, especially in the second half, and the Chargers offense looked good, and that was without Keenan Allen. But Joey Bosa still won't be back for a while. I have a lot of question marks about that defense. J.C. Jackson is starting to look like an overpay, which I felt was an overpay when they signed him. Coming in at number 7, I have the Ravens, who got a massive win over the Bengals to get back into a winning record. And I think the Ravens are as good of a team as any, really. But the main problem with them is they just need to finish games, which they did against the Bengals. But yeah, I mean, this is a team that, if not for 2 fourth quarter collapses, they could be 5-0. Coming in at number 6, I got the 49ers, who got a blowout win over the Panthers. Now, Nick Bosa got hurt, but he's considered day-to-day, so he should be able to play next week. Emmanuel Mosley, an unsung hero, not a player that a lot of people may know, but who's been pretty good for the Niners. In fact, he had back-to-back pick sixes now. He's out for the year, and the 49ers' second cornerback group is not the best. Their secondary is lacking. A lot to be desired there, and having a starter out for the year is definitely not ideal for them. But Jimmy Garoppolo played efficient. George Kittle finally got a little bit more involved, so things are trending upward for the 49ers. Coming in at number 5, I have the Vikings. Now, this is a very flimsy number 5. Like, the Vikings just struggled a bit with the Bears, but I'm not going to hold them to it because the Bears are a division rival, and at the end of the day, the Bears aren't as bad as people thought they would be. But, I mean, Kirk Cousins is 1 o'clock Kirk. We all know that. He only plays good top-tier football, and 1 o'clock, not as big of a spotlight game. I just question this team down the stretch in those big games mainly because of Kirk Cousins. Coming in at number 4, the Dallas Cowboys, who have won 4 straight games with a backup quarterback. But let me tell you, a backup quarterback who's playing very well. Look, he didn't do anything special against the Rams, but he did what he had to do. He didn't lose them the game. Cooper Rush is now 5-0 as a starter in the NFL, 4-0 this season. You know, Cooper Rush, I mean, they already said that it's unlikely, not unlikely, but they're tilting more towards Cooper Rush starting against the Eagles. They say Dak may not be ready until the week after against the Lions. So I think there's a controversy brewing in Dallas, because last time we saw Dak, it really did not look good. But to be fair, he was going up against one of the best defenses in the NFL. Coming in at number 3, I have the Bills, who really took it to the Steelers. You know, that game was really a beatdown from the start when the Bills got that 98-yard receiving touchdown on the second play of the game. You know, the Steelers never really had a chance in that one. And then coming in at number 2, the Chiefs, which is setting up for a number 2 versus number 3 matchup next week. Game of the year between these two teams, and I'll be talking more about that game in my video tomorrow when previewing week 6. But looking at the Chiefs, you know, got off to a little bit of a slow start, came back and won the game last night 30-29. The offense played really well. Mahomes played really well. Kelsey made the plays when he needed to, catching 4 touchdowns. The Chiefs' running game was slow at first, but kind of got going in the second half. They struggled stopping the run against Josh Jacobs, who had a heck of a game last week and now followed it up with another good game. But at least the Chiefs were able to really shut down Davante Adams in the second half, aside from that one big bomb touchdown. But it wasn't like Davante Adams was open play in and play out. Chiefs are looking really, really good. Obviously, there was that controversial call that was probably even worse than the Brady roughing the passer call, which could have really affected the game, but the Chiefs were able to overcome it. Chiefs are looking really good. Coming in at number 1, I have the Eagles, who are now 5-0 and were able to hold on to that win against the Cardinals. Their defense is playing well, and you know, the offense didn't have as exciting of a game for them as they've been having, but they did play well. Jalen Hurts is playing very efficient and good. A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith is one of the best wide receiver duos in the NFL. Eagles are looking really strong right now. Only unbeaten team in the league. I have them at number 1. Comment down below what you guys think. What do you think? What would you tweak with my rankings? But other than that, I'll see you guys next time.